What's going on YouTube? So in a world where prices seem to just be getting higher and higher, it's a breath of fresh air to see a luxury vehicle that is both affordable and well equipped.
And that's just like this Audi Q3 we're in today. Audi has added even more features for 2024 as standard equipment without a big jump in price.
So, is this a small luxury crossover bargain? Let's go ahead and find out. So first things first, we have to kick off this video under the hood of this Audi Q3. So what are we going to find? Well, you're going to always find a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. However, it comes in two different tunes. We have the more powerful version, making 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque.
All models have an 8-speed automatic transmission and standard quattro all-wheel drive. As far as your fuel economy is concerned, you're sitting at either 25 miles a gallon combined or 24 mpg combined, depending on your tune.
Right, and of course we're going to go out on an extensive test drive a little later on in the video, show you guys the performance, get things like our signature sound level reading. But first I want to go ahead, close up the hood, and show you guys the exterior design because that's always been a highlight of this Q3. Now even though this is Audi's most affordable crossover in their lineup, they don't make you sacrifice design. This very much has that same signature Audi look as all their other crossover models, actually maybe a little bit more stylish than some of them. So let's take a look. Up here in the front, of course, you've got that signature single frame grille that all Audis have. We have the black optic package though, so that's going to make things very aggressive looking, as you can see, all blacked out through here with the black paint. And we've even opted for the black badging, so we've got that full murdered out look, which you can add to even the base premium trim level. And now let's come over here and take a look at the headlights. Again, very premium looking, full LED headlights, standard on all trim levels. You also have your signature daytime running light and turn signal indicator below. It does not have the dynamic turn signal though. Now as we move around to the rear, it continues to have a design which I've always thought kind of bears a decent amount of resemblance to that Audi Q8 flagship model.
Yeah, I think even more so than the Q5, honestly. And as far as some of the design elements going on back here, we do have a lot of the blacked out badging, which I think really gives it a sleek look. And let's check out our taillights because that's another premium element, spoiler alert. Let's see if all the elements are LED. So we have an LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and dynamic turn signal indicator going on here. So all three elements are LED. You even have the premium dynamic turn signal. Love this taillight, and that's standard on every single Q3 model. Now down here at the lower area, this is all going to be finished in a body color. We do also have a little bit of rugged black matte plastic. If you don't like the way that looks, you can get a black paint color like this, and that very much blends it in. No exposed exhaust outlets on any Q3 though.
Now moving on to our wheel options, you are going to start with 18-inch alloy wheels. We have the black optic package that adds these 19-inch alloy wheels with the kind of gray and contrast finish. You can't even get 20-inch alloy wheels if you really want to have the most pop to your design. As we rise up here to our mirrors, you will have standard heating on board. We also have the convenience package for today's example, so that's going to give us auto dimming and power folding abilities in addition to blind spot monitoring.
Now at the side of the Q3, a lot of vehicles in this segment can honestly have weird proportions, but I don't think you see that with this model. I think it looks really good here at the side. The overall length is 176.6 inches. Everything's going to be blacked out for this model as we see today. Now, as far as your safety systems, there is a new feature for 2024 that I don't want to delay getting to because you're going to actually have all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment on this Audi Q3. Previously, adaptive cruise control with their traffic jam assist function was not standard. Now it's standard on all Audi Q3. So rejoice if you failed your driver's test one too many times. It's okay. This Audi Q3's got you covered. But guys, there's a really cool interior on the inside, and if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's move on to the interior. Take a look at the key fob first. This is kind of the older style Audi key fob, we do have the smart entry system, but you still have the switchblade key, and this is going to be included with the convenience package or in the Premium Plus trim level. Now to get inside, just reach behind the handle. That will unlock the door. And then taking a look at the interior, no major design changes this year, but I do want to start off by talking about some interior material and color options. So one of the nice things about the Q3 and all Audis, as a matter of fact, is that you have standard real leather no matter which trim level you choose. We also have the black optic package, so you'll notice we have the sport seats. These are a little bit more aggressively bolstered. They also look a lot better, if you ask me, with the color contrast stitching details that run throughout. And in terms of your color choices, you do have black or rotor gray options. Now down here at the seat controls, we've got the 12-way power adjustment with 4-way lumbar support. You also have a manual thigh extension, and then you have memory seating located right over here on the door trim. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we're inside, we can take a look at the rest of the cab materials. Over here in our door trim, nice leather padding with a stitching detail. We have leather through here, and it is going to be padded across the top. As we move to the upper dashboard, all of this will be a nice high quality soft touch plastic material. We have this aluminum looking trim that's going to run through the center section. You can actually get an open pore wood on your higher end examples. And then as we move down to our lower areas, these will be hard touch, but everything in here is built really, really solidly, as typical for the Audi brand. Now let's go ahead and fire it up with the push button start. Now heading into a first-person perspective, we'll take a closer look at some of the details. First off, we have our digital gauge cluster. We have a 10¼ inch digital gauge cluster standard on all Q3s. That's what we have today. You can get the larger 12.3 inch full virtual cockpit system, which will give you also navigation, but that's going to be an option on just the Premium Plus trim level. Graphics on board look quite nice. It just doesn't have as many features as the full system. Now as you pull back to the steering wheel, of course you got a nice leather wrap steering wheel. That's always going to be standard equipment. It is manual tilt and telescoping, and then you also do not have the availability of steering wheel heating. Now let's turn over here to our interior storage. So even though this is a small crossover, let's talk a little bit about this. Now we've been doing a new thing recently called our Car Confections donut test. We see how many donuts can we fit inside of a center console, and it passes if it can do the full dozen. Well, here we go. We've got 5 donuts here in the Q3. That's kind of expected for a smaller crossover. This does adjust up, by the way. You got your 2 cup holders. And then up here in the front, we have a nice large area. According to my notes, last year the wireless phone charging pad was supposed to become standard. However, we still don't have that on today's example, so I think that's due to a COVID part shortage still. Now, pulling back to the shifter. As you can see, this is a traditional style unit versus the small electronic one you have on the A3 sedan. Pull back for drive, bump to the right if you want to shift manually. We do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. And then heading into reverse, this is what our traditional backup camera is going to look like. Surprisingly, we do also have front and rear parking sensors, which is a nice feature, and active trajectory. Back behind the shifter is your electronic parking brake. And you can get a 360 camera on the Premium Plus trim level, by the way. Now let's move on up here to our volume knob. So we've got the standard sound system, but there is a optional Sonos 3D sound system if you prefer something with a little bit more bang to it. But let's go ahead and give this one a sample. Okay, not bad at all. Even though this is the standard sound system, it really does fill up the cabin nicely, and it has plenty of bass, I think enough to be satisfactory for the vast majority of people. All right, now let's dive into our climate controls. Dual zone automatic, as you can see, nice, easy to use physical knobs on board. We do also have standard 3-stage heated seats on all models. Just be aware, if you want seat ventilation, you're going to have to choose the Audi Q5 instead of this Q3. Above that, we have the 10.1-inch display integrated right in there. This is going to be running the latest version of the MMI Touch Response infotainment system. You'll notice on lower trim levels you're going to be missing navigation being built into the display itself. You're also going to be missing wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, but you do get those features if you upgrade with the technology package on the Premium Plus trim level. Most models will come with an auto dimming mirror and HomeLink universal remotes, but the feature I really want to draw your attention to is this panoramic sunroof. This is standard equipment on all versions of the Q3. It's a very nice large piece of glass, and the front panel does open up.
So let's check out the rear seat of the Q3. Now, one thing that's pretty common in this segment is not having great rear seats, because that's not the focus of something this small, but the Q3 actually surprises you with how much space it has. We're looking at a little over 36 inches of legroom, a little over 36 inches of headroom, which is pretty much right in line with a lot of the larger rivals like the Volvo XC40, and it's really not that much behind the bigger brother Audi Q5. Now, I'm 5'9" for reference. This is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". Let's see how much knee space we have. We're sitting at about 6 inches solid, so not bad when it comes to the amount of knee space. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat. And your fun fact about this car, you can actually slide the seats forward and back. Not really sure why you'd want to do that. That's a little bit of an odd feature because we don't have a third row, but it does also have the recline function, which makes it nice and comfortable back here, and these seats are very soft. Now, as far as the features are concerned, here in the middle we are going to have vents, which thank goodness that we have rear vents because it's hot today. And you do also have a temperature slider right here that kind of allows you to have 3-zone climate without the individual temperature adjustment. Down below that we have a 12-volt outlet as well as 2 USB-C ports. That's standard equipment on all Q3s. We do also have a center armrest with 2 cup holders outside, although pretty sure it's going to have to be a Dixie cup if you want to fit it in this. Now, as far as the door trim's going to actually be made of the same materials as the front. So soft touch on the upper part, leatherette in the middle, leatherette on your armrest, and we do have bottle storage in the very bottom. Heated rear seats are not offered on the Q3. Now, walking up to the cargo area of the Q3, let's go ahead and talk about this because that's also probably an area you're very curious about. Now, we do have a power tailgate standard on all models. If you choose the Premium Plus trim level, you get standard hands-free, or you can option it on to this base model like we see here. And as you can see, the hands-free ability does work really well. The space is 24 cubic feet behind the second row seats. If we fold those seats down, we're going to be sitting at a maximum of 48 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which is right in line, once again, with those main rivals. It's only about 6 cubic foot less than the Audi Q5, so not major space difference between this and the big brother Q5, that is for sure. Now, there are not any handles to fold the seats from back here, so we do have to go up to the second row itself to fold those down. And as you can see, the seats do fold actually 40-20-40 split folding, which is very nice because that adds the additional usability if you had something long and still needed 4 people to sit back here. But let's go ahead and get our measurements and see how much space there is from the back of the driver's seat to the rear of the cargo area. Sitting at 69 inches, guys, you can't make that up. 69 inches, that's a good measurement. That actually is the exact length of the average size adult bicycle, 69 inches long. So you should be able to fit it in this Q3. As far as how wide the cargo area is, we're sitting at a pretty solid, what does that say? 42 inches of space. So pretty solid space figures back here. We also do have cubbies on the side, and underneath the cargo floor you have a spare tire. You can also adjust the height of this cargo floor to maximize your usability. Alright guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Audi Q3. In this test drive, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading. But first, let's go ahead and start with a hard acceleration and see what this powertrain is made of.
So, as we mentioned with the spec dunk, there's actually two different turbo 4-cylinders that you can pick from. It's called TFSI 40 and TFSI 45 to be specific about it. And that's going to give you the choice to have either 184 horsepower or 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. We've got the more powerful version, which you can certainly tell. This is a very punchy motor. Gets this little guy up to speed quite nicely. About 7 seconds 0 to 60 is what you should expect according to Audi. Feels about right to us.
Yeah, and as far as the base motor, that's going to go to 60 in 8.6 seconds. So a pretty substantial upgrade when you choose this 45 model. This is definitely what I would opt for, but if power doesn't really matter that much to you, I like that Audi does give you the base option, because I believe it saves around $2,500 if you choose that base engine option. You can get it on both the trim levels, and you do also get slightly better fuel economy, which I'll talk about in just a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, it feels very zippy when you're out driving it in the city, especially with the low-end torque. Let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. That's an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is nice and responsive as well. Just kind of all works together to give you that, quick feel and sensation when you're driving this around.
Yeah, and as far as the drivetrain, you're going to have standard Quattro all-wheel drive on all versions of the Q3, which does mean that you only have two fuel economy figures. It's going to be rated at 25 miles a gallon combined. With the 40 model, if you choose the more powerful 45 like what we have today, that's 24 miles a gallon combined. Something worth noting about this powertrain is that if you're looking between a Q3 and an A3, this actually does not have the mild hybrid setup that you find on the A3. So the A3 does get quite a bit better fuel economy than this. Of course, this is a larger, heavier SUV, but it gets pretty substantially better fuel economy because of the mild hybrid and those things.
Now we're going around a long sweeping corner here. I do want to mention the handling of this Q3. This is not a sporty SUV by any stretch of the imagination, but it does hold its own, as you expect from a German crossover. Body control, pretty nice. The steering, lightweight, but it does have quick response, which is what's important.
Yeah, and as far as your ride quality, I do want to just go ahead and talk about that in this Q3. The ride quality is very good. We have the kind of the sportier looking model on the outside, but when you get behind the wheel, you realize that it does have a very luxurious ride quality. When you hit a bump, it does a good job of absorbing it, making sure there's not a lot of intrusion inside of the cabin. We're just about to go over one right now, and it does a great job of handling it. I also will say that these seats are very comfortable. I really love these seats. They hug you in nicely. They're going to have 4-way power lumbar support, even here on the passenger side. So very nice seats, that's for sure, especially for a vehicle in this segment. All right, and let's go ahead and do our slam dunk and airball. That's one of the signature elements that we do in all of our reviews. Drew, what's the slam dunk?
The slam dunk for us has got to be the value. Like we mentioned in the introduction, things are just getting, honestly, like kind of out of hand, and the way the prices have just really been increasing. This model has not really been subjected to those price increases, and this is the most affordable Audi crossover already, meaning, especially if you equip it like we have today, you get a lot of equipment, a lot of luxury for $45,000. So, I mean, it's hard to complain about that.
Yeah, and as far as the airball is concerned, this is a very well-rounded product. We very much like it. But as far as that, I would really like to have seen the updated mild hybrid powertrain come over from the A3. I think that would have been a nice addition to have the mild hybrid system that does get you better fuel economy. So hopefully Audi will update it in the next model year or so to have that updated powertrain or give it a refresh on this model. And let's get our sound level reading, going 55 miles an hour. We've We've settled in at 55.7 decibels for our official Car Confections sound level reading for this Audi Q3. And what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go ahead and go to carconfections.com, which is our website. And on our website, we've actually posted all of our sound level readings for all the cars that we've done, which is a lot of cars. So we have a huge database that is available for you guys to look at. It took a while for us to make it, so go ahead and go look at it, and let's see how it compares to some of the rivals. And as far as how that compares to those rivals, we are sitting at number 2 in the segment that is quieter than the Volvo XC40 and also quieter than the previous Audi Q3 that we have tested out. And the last thing here to mention is your warranty, which is going to be for your 50,000 miles for both basic and powertrain. And let's talk price for the 2024 Q3. Now, this, of course, is one of the bright aspects of this vehicle because this is an affordable Audi, relatively. So we're starting at $37,400 this year for the premium trim level. That's going to be about a $1,000 price increase over the 2023 model. Now, here's the news, though. If you choose the Premium Plus, because you do have more standard equipment on that base model, it's actually going to go down $1,000 for 2024. So it's going to start at $39,800. So yeah, you can get a Premium Plus trim level for under $40,000. Now, when you add some of the options like what we have on today's example, it's going to be about $45,000, which is still a very good value, especially for the upper end 45 model with more power. Well, guys, that's all for our in-depth review of the 2024 Audi Q3. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, please pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, all you're going to do is get a few notifications on some of our most recent content, which I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. And if you're already a part of our Car Confections family, thank you so much for your continued support. We would also appreciate if you'd support us on TikTok and Instagram and go follow us there, as well as check out carconfections.com. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.